Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to work on the second half of our pendant necklace. Now to do this, we're going to need some 14 gauge wire, some 24 gauge, which is to help them hold in place, some chain, couple of jump rings, and as far as tools are concerned, we're going to need our bench block and our chasing hammer, as well as our bail making pliers. And then of course when we go to hook the chain on, we will be doing that with jump rings, so we will need our chain nose pliers. So let's turn down and we'll get working on it. Now I've got the wire and I've got our pendant here. And what we need to do is to take and make two relatively good sized pieces of wire. We want about this much for either side of the smaller piece, so that's about 4 inches, so we're going to need about 8 inches of wire for it. We may want to make it 9 just so we have for sure have enough when we make our loops. Oops, here's our chain over there. So here's 9, so we're going to cut it at 9 for our first piece. Now because this is 16 gauge, I'm using my heavy duty clippers. Then our other piece, which will be going through here also and up behind, is going to be about 12 inches. That should be enough, I hope. Maybe we should make it 14 just to be on the safe side, because it has to be a little longer than the other one. Oops, I put a bow in it. We don't want that. Let's see how long we've got this so far. About 12, and we do want it to be about 14, so we'll just slide it over and just cut about right here. This looks good. And then we should be done with our large wire. Now we want to get these pretty straight because we're got to be forming them into a shape in a little bit. But it's always better if you start from a nice flat. I put a bow right here. Gonna try and get this kink out right here. Okay, so what we want to do is, first of all, the smaller one is almost going to be bent in half. Got to find the middle. I should have kept the ruler out because we do have to find the middle. And it is 9 inches, so middle would be 4.5. So right here, I'm going to take my flat nose pliers. I'm going to grab it right there at the 4.5, and I'm going to bend it this way. Now this is 14 gauge, so it's not the easiest to bend, but that's all right. Now this is going to have a very distinct bend in it, because this is the one that's going to make a roll around to this side, like so. Sort of like a insect's antennae. Now this other one is going to have a bow as well, but not nearly as big. So I do need to know for sure how big I made this. That's 12 here. And it looks like I did make it 14, so 7 inches is where we're going to put our bend on this one. Right here. Okay. Now this one is actually going to, even though they're going to go together here, this bow is going to go like so. Actually, it needs to have a little loop here like this, and then have this bow. So we'll put a little bend with our thumb, just hold it there and then bend it up like so. And then it's going to go up like so. And when they come together down here, see, they're going to go on either side. So we have a little circular part in the middle. And this is going to be sitting down here in the middle of this. Now, I do want to hammer these, but because we have to get them on here, I'm only going to hammer the tip right now. So we'll get out our block and our chasing hammer. And we'll flatten the tip right here. Now you'll notice excuse me, talking while I'm painting is not good. You'll notice I'm going up a ways. And that's because I want the whole thing to be flattened, but I still have to put these two through the loop and put them together before I can finish up putting this putting the pattern in here. So the whole thing will not get flat until we're done, but we'll do this in the meantime. Okay, this one is done pretty good. Now we will do the other. Now before we go on, we'll set this aside for right now. What we need to do now is to take our two pieces, which are like so, and we're going to feed said pieces through the wrap of the labradorite. These need to be done now before we do any hooking together, because otherwise they won't go in. So we need to put them in separately, like one. This is where it's going to sit on this little loop here, and then two will go in afterwards. Now, because these are sitting in the loops, these loops now need to become permanently together. In order to do that, get back over here. We need to wire wrap these two pieces together, and something wonky's going on here. I think I see what it is. Okay. Come out. You went underneath that one. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is, since this is where we want this to sit, like so, we're going to pull this aside for a while. Can't go off because it's done like that. Then we're going to put these two pieces together like so. This needs to go this way more, it looks like, but that's all right. We'll get it going. And then we need to cut some of our little wire. And we shouldn't need too much right now, because what we're going to do right now is to wire wrap these two pieces together. Well, that's all we're using this for anyway, is to wire wrap the pieces together. So I'm done with this. It can go aside. So now that I've cut a little piece, what I want to do is straighten it a little bit. And then I'm simply going to carefully take these two pieces, and I'm going to wire wrap them together. Easier said than done with the pendant on there, but you really have to have it on there, otherwise you won't be able to get it on because of the bows in the wire. Okay. What are you doing here? I don't think you should be here. Okay. Just gonna wrap a few wraps here. And pull the point down to make sure it's right where it should be. See how the 2 points need to be together here. You get out of the way, you. Now this isn't in, there we go. But now the wire wrap has slipped over to this side. I don't want it over here, I want it over here. So now I need to hold this in place some, and then just wrap it some more. We probably don't need more than 6 or 7, maybe 8 wraps in here total. But we do need it to be enough to hold our triangles in place, or our bows in place, whatever you want to call them here. Now you see she won't go up anymore because I've got her triangles wrapped together, or her bows wrapped together here. So now that I have these, I can take my, oh sorry, I'm out of camera, didn't mean to do that. Squish our wrapped part down so it's good and sturdy here. And then we'll cut off our extra wire from our wraps. Take our chain nose pliers and flatten those out. Now our pendant should be able to go right down on top of that. There we go. And there is the first part of our necklace in place. Now this isn't hooked in here. It can move a little bit if it wants to, which is fine. Put these sort of to the side so they're not in our way. So now, as you can see, we've got this portion done, and the next step will be to, number one, make sure I have these spread the way I want them, as much as I want them. There, that's good. Then I'm going to need to flatten these other pieces, but before I do that, I can actually do my wraps, which is going to have this one going in a curve like so. There we go. Now if I can imitate that on the other side, that'll be good. No slipping up here. So we did this with a big loop first and went most of the way around, and then I got the little one out to do the rest of this curve. I think I may have squished it a little too much, so we may need to get the big one out again. Yeah, see, the big one's definitely not got enough room here anymore, so we'll open this back up till we get the big one back in and get his loop in there. Then the smaller to make the curl. I think that's better. The other one is still more rounded, but I think I can just, oops, don't squish the corner. Okay. Well, it's going to be flattened anyway, so that's going to help with its design element, so to speak. And then we're going to go up here, and we're going to make some loops up here at the top. How we're going to do that is we're going to take the smaller of these two, and we're going to wrap it so that it's going this way. And make a full loop. Same on the other side. There we go. So now it looks like this. Next, we're going to turn this, grab it like this, and with our big one down below, and we're going to pull it down a little ways, maybe 1/4 inch or so, and then we're going to pull it back down towards this direction, like so. Same on the other side. And there we have our loops up at the top. Now I am going to make a little, what we're going to do is once these come together here, where these come together, we're going to bring this one and make it have a loop going this direction, like so. So we'll grab this other side over here to do the same thing. And it's going to be about right here. So compare, see if they're about the same. And now we've got this finished, except we now need to flatten these two other pieces and wire wrap them together right here where the connection is, so they don't go, well, wherever they feel like going, because we don't want them to go wherever they feel like going. So now we'll get our bench block back out and our hammer, and we will hammer these pieces. Now if you want to texture, now is the time to do that as well. As you can see, this has changed the shape some. We're going to have to do some repair work after we get it entirely hammered. I think I might do a little bit of texturing on this side, since this is the side where the pendant is up. Now we will swing this back down here, move this back to this direction. As you can see, now we're bowed to the back, and we don't want that, so we need to ease it up some. And we're also going to need to straighten our wire, do some wire fixing, because this one, as you can see, is now no longer got the big enough bow in it, and neither has this one. So we're gonna just bow them back a little bit more again, and they will, like I say, have to be brought more this direction because they're facing more down. So okay, so these will be like, this needs to be. And as you can see, this has come up, so we'll have to push that down some too, because our chain is going to hang here on the end of this. So now we have to do the other side as well, and then we'll have to get everything back in shape. This one's pretty much in shape, just a little bit wonky, not too horribly bad. There, we got the curl back in there a little better. So anyway, we'll let this go over this way. We'll let our baby spread again, and we'll start pounding this side. Okie dokie. Now that we have the texturing and the flattening done, it's time to try and get these back into shape. You see this one's back out up here again. So we push it down with our fingers. And then this one has got a slight curl, and it needs to have its curl back a little bit. Actually, it's not so bad. This one is more than it is. And I'm thinking I can maybe, that may help some. So now these guys have got to go back into place as far as their shape is concerned. And this one is more or less there. It needs this last little curl here to be fixed, and over here. I think those two are fine. They need to bow towards this direction a little bit more, because after all, they're going to be sitting on your, more or less on your breastbone. So now we have to just wire wrap these two spots here together. As soon as we decide that everything is looking good. I think this one lost some of its curl right here. Eyeballs look good. Okay, I think it's looking pretty good. So what we need is our little bit of wire like we used down here. And all we're going to do is we're going to go with the middle here first, so we get it exactly where we want it. We're going to give it a couple of twists, 1, 2, 3 across there. Then, to make sure it has kept the shape you want it to have, we're going to take this one here that we came through here, and we're going to go 3 wraps right here, maybe 4. 4 is a little more sturdy if we want to do it that way. 2, 3, and yeah, I think we'll go for 4. And 4. Then tighten them up some. Now we'll go to the other side here, which is going to be a little bit more difficult because you're going to be in this eye portion here. And we're going to take this little wire, push it through the eye, or the loop, whatever you want to call it. I think it looks like an eye, but 2, 3, and 4. Now push them to the back, both of those loops, and then you can cut them off. I no longer need these big ones, but that's all right, we'll use those. Then take your chain nose pliers and bring them all together. Squish those loops in where you just cut them. This one I just felt a little bit of a rough spot, and I'm still filling it. I don't like that. There we go. Now we get the other one. And then we'll take our nylon jaw pliers and squish it some more. Now you'll notice that squished it out of shape some, and that's all right. We're going to fix that by just putting it around your fingers and bowing. So there's that side, and now we'll put this side on over here. So we're going to cut another little piece of wire. As you see, it didn't need to be long, probably this is probably longer than I need right here, but that'll do. So then we do exactly the same thing as we did on the other side. We find the place we want it to hook at, which is about right here. Hold these two together while we put the wire across the center bars where they come together at. And then we're going to wrap 1, 2, 3. And I think all I did was 3 on that side. Though 4 is a perfectly acceptable number if that's what you go for. Now we're going to do what we did before. Hold this side while we take this one and bring it around and do 4 wraps right here on this bar. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing, but on the other side, and we're going to wrap it through the eye 4 times. 4. Tighten everything up. It's looking pretty good. Now we're going to take and tighten this side some. Then we're going to clip off the extra wire. Get our chain nose pliers in and squish that wire down. Okay. And then we'll take our nylon jaw and squish it entirely. Then we're going to have to do our bow to get it back into the place we want it to be. Come on, you get down where you belong. There we go. So there we go. I think this one needs bowed a little bit more. I mean, this one needs bowed downwards some. But this one looks like it has... Oh, it needs to go this way some. There. And that's what she looks like. And this side's going over this way more. I'm going to have to bring it up. I can see that right now. So you need to come this way. You need to come this way. Or you need to go this way. So I'm going to need to manipulate it a bit. I think that it goes, I could be wrong, but it looks like this side is more this direction than this side is. So we're going to have to play with it with our fingers a little bit until we get it to where we're happy with it. So actually, I think I did just now. I think it looks pretty good right now. So the last step is to add the chain to the back. So we need to decide, first of all, which chain we're going to use. Do we want a bolder chain or a more elegant, lighter weight chain? So here are some of my chain choices. This one is the bolder one. And frankly, I'm not sure I like it. I think that might be too thick, though that's what my original thinking was to use. But I'm not liking it. It don't talk to me. Here's a smaller one, much smaller, very delicate. Or we have a couple of other choices. I don't have a lot of this size, but that's all right. It might be the one we want to use. This is a little Figaro. Actually, I like that better than the that one seems too delicate. And the other silver one I have is even more delicate. So this is not a long piece. As you can see, it's about 12 inches, I think. Not quite 12 inches, so a little over 11. So we're going to have to find the middle of it. Cut this little one off because it needs to go be more or less the same where it hits. So since I'm not sure if this is stainless or not, we'll get the big clippers back out. Cut that off. Didn't feel like it was. Now we need to cut it in half. And I think this will be plenty long enough because this piece is going to go up on your chest. So hopefully this will be long enough. So let's find the middle of this baby, cut it in half. And if we're worried about its length, I could use a lobster claw and extender chain for closure. And we'll just use that other bigger chain for that if we want to do that. This breaks perfectly right here at the bottom. So we will get out a couple of lobster claws. I'm not jump rings. Okay, I have gotten a lobster claw out, and I got a couple of inches of the thicker chain I decided not to use in the front as a extender. Now, I always try to put a pretty on the extender, so we will have to find something that I think will work as a, I think I have some little labradorite beads somewhere that I can put on as a, and maybe maybe one or two of these little ball ones, since they will then match really well to the pendant here. Now I've put the lobster claw on, and now I'm putting on the extender chain. And I realize that this piece is actually too big for you to see it the way I have it magnified. So I will pull it up some while I go and find so that you can see what I mean by this beautiful piece. Let's put this in the regular lobster claw here. So there is our necklace. And we're going to make you a teeny bit smaller. Sorry if that made you a little seasick, so that you can see it from side to side in the whole piece here. Now I'm going to go find something that I feel is worthy of this piece to put down here, and it'll be done. Okie dokie, I have decided to use this pretty little labradorite teardrop here with one ball spacer on the top, like so. And now we're just going to wrap this baby up and hook it directly to the chain that we are going to be using, or the extender chain, I should say. We're already using it, it's already on. So there we go. Get our extender chain, get the last link, and we'll bring this baby onto here. Get our needle nose pliers and hold the connection. Now these little wires are light enough that I'm going to just use my fingers to wrap it. So I think that's good. So cut off the excess. And now I'll get my pliers to tuck that, my second pair to tuck that little wire in place there. There we go. I think she looks good. So there is our finished necklace with our, like I said, I'm going to go downsizing it a little bit again so that you can see the full effect of the necklace. And of course it goes up here, and here is our extender chain with our little labradorite teardrop as a dangle in the back. Isn't that pretty? I still notice that we have a few little, like this one's up a little higher here. Let's lay it back down and see what I think. Okay, we're good there now. But now see, this one's tipped up a little bit compared to the other side, so we'll work it a little bit. I think we're pretty good there. Isn't that pretty? And look at the flash on the labradorite. So anyway, there is our necklace. Okie dokie. There is our very, very pretty wire-wrapped necklace. It's going to sit when you wear it about like, yeah, like so. I think it turned out really nicely. I'm pleased with it. Like I said, this is a statement piece. It's not one you'd wear with your blue jeans or whatever. But I think it turned out quite nicely. Definitely as good as I had envisioned. Oops. But yeah, it's going to sit just like so. With your pendant like that. And I think it turned out quite pretty. I hope you liked it as much as I did, and I hope you enjoyed making it with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we will see you the next time. Bye-bye.